Right now, at this exact moment, while you're listening to this, your kidneys are doing something. Something you have absolutely no awareness of. And here's the brutal part. The probability that one of them is already damaged? Significantly higher than you think, like much higher. You could lose 80% of your kidney function and feel completely normal. Nothing. No pain, no warning, no sensation whatsoever. By the time your body actually signals something's wrong, the damage is already catastrophic. And for roughly 90% of people eating modern diets, the damage has already started. Not might start, has already started. Right now, today. While you're listening to this, your kidneys aren't small. Most people think they're these tiny little bean-shaped organs, right? They're not. Each one is about the size of your fist. They're sophisticated filtering systems operating 24/7, right now. As you listen to this, they're processing your blood, filtering it, cleaning it, removing waste. Every single day, your kidneys filter roughly 150 to 180 liters of blood. That's 40 to 50 gallons, the equivalent of filling a bathtub completely, multiple times per day, and filtering every drop of it perfectly, without stopping, without sleeping, without any break whatsoever. They do this automatically. Your body doesn't ask permission. Your kidneys just do it. Constantly, relentlessly, without complaint. But here's what happens when sugar enters the picture. And this is specific. This is cellular. This is where the damage mechanism actually begins. When you consume sugar, whether it's in that caramel latte, the healthy yogurt, the granola bar you think is nutritious, the pasta sauce that's loaded with hidden sugars, the salad dressing that tastes innocent, your blood glucose spikes. It doesn't gradually increase, it spikes rapidly. Your pancreas notices, it panics slightly. It floods your bloodstream with insulin to get that glucose into cells. Your kidneys sense this chaos. They sense the elevated glucose. They sense the elevated insulin, and they respond by shifting into a state called glomerular hyperfiltration. This is not normal kidney operation. This is overdrive. Emergency mode. It's like your kidneys suddenly have to filter blood at maximum intensity constantly. Imagine a water filter that works fine with clean water. Now imagine someone pours thick maple syrup through it constantly, day after day, year after year. What happens? The filter doesn't just clog, the filter material itself degrades, the mesh breaks down at the molecular level, the filter weakens permanently. That's literally what happens to your kidneys under constant sugar stress. Inside your kidneys are about 1 million microscopic filtering units. Each one is called a nephron. These nephrons have layers, delicate layers. The outer layer is called the glomerulus. That's where the actual filtration happens. Blood enters the glomerulus, and water along with small molecules like urea and glucose get filtered out. Larger molecules like proteins and blood cells stay in the blood where they belong. The middle layer has specialized cells that regulate what passes through. These cells are incredibly selective. They know exactly what should leave your blood and what should stay. The inner layer reabsorbs what your body needs to keep. Glucose gets reabsorbed back into the blood. Useful minerals get reabsorbed. Water gets reabsorbed based on what your body needs. It's an elegant system, a perfectly tuned biological filtration mechanism. Sugar forces these nephrons to work faster, to filter more aggressively, to push harder. When blood glucose is chronically elevated, the glomerulus has to filter out more glucose. The filtration barrier has to work harder to separate glucose from the rest of the blood. The walls of these nephrons, remember they're one cell thick in places, literally one cell thick, separating your blood from your urine. They start to thicken under the stress. They start to scar. And when kidney tissue scars, it doesn't heal the way skin does. It doesn't regenerate. It stays scarred. Function decreases being permanently. Once that scarring happens, you've lost functional capacity that doesn't come back. Here's the specific mechanism of aging. When blood glucose stays elevated, sugar molecules attach to proteins in your kidney tissue. This isn't reversible, it's a chemical bond. These sugar-protein bonds are called advanced glycation end products, AGES. They're literally aging your kidneys faster. Think about what happens when you bake a cake and the sugar caramelizes on the outside. That browning, that hardening, that's a glycation reaction. That's exactly what's happening to your kidney proteins right now if you're eating high sugar. Studies from Johns Hopkins show that people with high sugar consumption have AGE levels in their kidney tissue 40 to 60% higher than people eating minimal sugar. These AGEs don't just sit there inert. They trigger inflammatory molecules. They activate immune cells. Your body literally starts attacking its own kidney tissue, thinking it's foreign and needs to be destroyed. The inflammation builds. More scar tissue forms. More nephrons die. And with each nephron that dies, your kidneys lose functional capacity. The immune response to ages is specifically a problem. When your immune system detects these glycated proteins, it recognizes them as damaged or foreign. Your macrophages swarm in. Your T cells activate, your dendritic cells start processing the AGE-damaged proteins as threats. And your immune system launches an attack. It's trying to clean up the debris. It's trying to remove the damaged material. But in the process, it's killing healthy kidney tissue too. Inflammation spreads. Cytokines are released. More immune cells arrive. The glomerulus, which is supposed to be a delicate filtering structure, becomes an active battleground. Your immune system is fighting a war inside your kidneys, and every time you eat sugar, you're giving it more ammunition. You're creating more glycated proteins. You're giving the immune system more targets, and the collateral damage, the healthy kidney tissue that gets caught in the crossfire, it keeps accumulating, and this is critical. This is absolutely critical to understand. Nephrons don't regenerate. You're born with roughly 1 million nephrons in each kidney. You don't grow new ones. This is different from liver cells that can regenerate. This is different from skin cells that grow back. And nephrons are born with you, and they're the only ones you get. When sugar kills them off, they're gone. Permanently. By age 30, most people on typical diets have already lost somewhere between 5 and 15% of their kidney function. By age 50, it's 20 to 35%. And they have absolutely no idea. No symptoms, no warning signs, no blood in their urine, no pain, nothing. Their blood work might look fine because the remaining kidney function is still technically normal range. The laboratory values are within normal limits. The doctor says everything looks good. Meanwhile, the damage is advancing. But here's the hidden killer mechanism. Your kidneys have massive functional reserve. Your body actually only needs about 20 to 25% of total kidney function to survive, technically. So you can lose 75% of your kidney capacity and still technically be alive. But you're not living well. You're existing in a state of chronic toxin accumulation, urea, creatinine, potassium, phosphorus. All the waste products your kidneys normally filter out, they start building up in your blood. Your blood is slowly poisoning you, and you don't feel it, not until it's almost completely gone, not until you've lost 70, 75, 80% of function. Then, suddenly, one day you feel exhausted. You feel brain fog that won't go away. You feel swelling in your feet. You get short of breath. You go to the doctor. They run blood tests, and that's when you find out your kidneys are failing. And the damage that's already happened, it's permanent. The blood pressure mechanism is equally specific and equally damaging. When your kidneys are forced into that hyperfiltration state from sugar, they're being damaged by excessive blood flow velocity. The delicate blood vessel walls inside the glomerulus get beat up constantly. They develop microscopic tears. The body tries to patch these tears. It creates scar tissue. Scar tissue makes the blood vessel walls thicker and stiffer. Now they can't regulate blood pressure properly. They can't dilate and constrict the way healthy vessels do. So blood pressure creeps up, 1 point here, another point there. Within a year, another. Someone eating high sugar might be 10 to 15 points higher on systolic pressure than they should be. They don't realize it's the sugar. They think they're just getting older. They get blood pressure medication. The underlying kidney damage is still progressing underneath the pharmaceutical mask, and there's another layer. Insulin. When your blood sugar is constantly high from diet, you produce more insulin. Your cells start resisting insulin because they're overwhelmed with glucose constantly. Every time you eat sugar, your blood glucose spikes. Your pancreas produces insulin, glucose enters cells, but with the next sugary food, it happens again, and again, and again. Your cells are constantly exposed to high glucose and high insulin. They become desensitized. It's like constantly pressing a doorbell. At first, the person comes to the door, but if you keep pressing, they ignore it. They stop responding. Your cells stop responding to insulin. This is called insulin resistance. So your pancreas produces even more insulin, trying to force glucose into cells that are now resistant to the signal. This is the vicious cycle. High glucose requires more insulin creates resistance. Resistance requires more insulin. The amount of insulin your body is producing climbs higher and higher. And this excess insulin tells your kidneys to do something specific. Hold on to sodium. Your kidneys have cells that respond to insulin signals. These cells actively reabsorb sodium from the filtrate, pulling it back into the blood. When insulin levels are high, this signal is amplified. Your kidneys hold more sodium. And when kidneys hold sodium, they must also hold water to maintain osmotic balance. Salt draws water. Water follows salt, so you retain fluid. Your blood volume increases. Your heart has to pump harder. Your blood pressure rises further. Your kidneys are being damaged both by the excessive filtration demand and by the increased fluid volume they're now managing. It's a cascade. Each problem creates another problem underneath it. Each consequence creates another consequence. You're not just experiencing one mechanism of damage, you're experiencing multiple overlapping mechanisms, creating compounding damage. It's not simple damage, it's cumulative, cascading, multiplicative damage. Now let's talk about kidney stones because this is where it gets visceral. Most people think kidney stones come from dehydration or too much salt. That's partly true. But the primary driver that nobody talks about, sugar. When you eat a lot of sugar, your kidneys excrete more calcium in your urine. More calcium, not because your bones are breaking down, but because the kidney damage from AGES and inflammation causes problems with calcium reabsorption. The damaged kidney tubules can't reabsorb calcium properly, so you have excess calcium floating in your urine. And when you have excess calcium in an acidic urine environment, which sugar also creates by changing your metabolic pH, calcium crystallizes. Crystals form. Those crystals aggregate. They bond together. They grow larger. And suddenly you have a stone, a solid object, blocking the ureter, creating some of the most extreme pain a human can experience. People who've had kidney stones describe it as worse than childbirth, worse than breaking bones. The pain is so severe that people go to emergency rooms thinking they're having a heart attack or appendicitis. The pain comes in waves. It radiates from your back down to your groin. It's unrelenting. It's the kind of pain that makes you vomit, the kind of pain that makes you cry. And it can last for hours or days, depending on the size of the stone. Some people end up in the hospital on IV pain medication just to manage it. The trauma of passing a stone damages the ureter tissue. There's bleeding, there's inflammation, there's scarring that follows. And once you've had one kidney stone, you're much more likely to have another. The metabolic conditions that created the first one are still there. So you're looking at potentially recurrent episodes of this level of pain. Studies from the Journal of Urology found that people consuming the highest amounts of sugar have kidney stone rates 35 to 45% higher than low sugar consumers. And these aren't people who are symptomatic from kidney disease. These are seemingly healthy people People who feel fine, the sugar damage is already significant enough to cause stone formation, and they don't even realize their diet created it. They think it's just bad luck. They think they're genetically predisposed. They don't realize the caramel latte they ordered yesterday is the exact reason they're in emergency room pain right now, screaming in agony. Here's what I want you to understand about inflammation at the systemic level. Sugar doesn't just damage kidney, tissue. It triggers whole body inflammatory cascade. When you eat sugar, your blood glucose spikes. Your cells can't use all that glucose immediately. Some of it gets converted to fat through de novo lipogenesis. Some of it sits in your bloodstream. Excess blood glucose reacts with oxygen to create reactive oxygen species. Free radicals. These free radicals damage cell membranes, they damage DNA, they damage mitochondria. Your kidneys have some of the highest mitochondrial density of any organ in your body. Why? Because filtering blood requires massive amounts of ATP energy. Your kidneys consume roughly 7% of your body's total oxygen despite being only 0.5% of body weight. This is an enormous metabolic demand. When sugar creates free radical damage in kidney cells, it's damaging the power plants, the mitochondria. Each kidney cell might contain hundreds or thousands of mitochondria. Each mitochondrion is responsible for producing ATP through oxidative phosphorylation. It's a complex process with multiple steps. When free radicals damage the mitochondrial membranes, this process breaks down. The mitochondria start becoming less efficient. They produce less ATP. The kidney cells start running low on energy. When a kidney cell doesn't have enough ATP, everything breaks down. It can't maintain its cellular membrane properly. It can't transport ions. It can't filter properly. It can't maintain the selective permeability of its walls. Waste products that should stay in blood start leaking into urine. And more critically, molecules that should stay in blood start getting filtered out unnecessarily. Your kidneys are actively failing at their basic function because the power plants are broken. This is where protein leakage becomes measurable. Healthy kidneys keep blood proteins in your blood. Albumin, immunoglobulins, all the critical proteins your body needs for immune function, for maintaining oncotic pressure, for transport of hormones and nutrients. But when the filtration barrier is damaged by years of sugar-induced inflammation, these proteins start leaking into urine. You can actually test for this. Proteinuria. Protein in urine. It's one of the first measurable signs of kidney damage. And it's not just a marker, just a number that tells you something is wrong. Each protein lost in urine is a functional loss. Your body has to produce new proteins using amino acids and energy. It's a leak you can't afford. Your body has to constantly synthesize new proteins to replace the ones you're losing in urine. And the production of new protein requires nitrogen and amino acids and metabolic energy. Your body is running a deficit. You're losing resources faster than you can replace them. Your overall protein status declines. Your immune function suffers because you're losing immunoglobulins. Your muscle integrity suffers because muscle protein is being catabolized to provide amino acids for synthesis. As the kidney damage progresses, the leak gets worse. The more severe the kidney damage, the more protein leaks. Some people with advanced kidney disease lose 10 to 20 grams of protein per day in urine. For context, the average person eats about 50 grams of protein per day. So they're losing a third of their daily protein intake through damaged kidneys every single day. Over months and years, this chronic protein loss catches up with them. Muscle wasting becomes apparent. Weakness develops. Immune function declines. And yet, many patients don't realize this is happening until the damage is quite severe. Now here's what happens when you quit sugar. The moment you stop consuming it, your blood glucose stops spiking. Your pancreas doesn't have to flood your system with insulin. Within literally 24 hours, your insulin levels start dropping. Your cells start becoming more sensitive to insulin again. The emergency mode shuts off. Your kidneys stop being forced into glomerular hyperfiltration. The constant pressure on those delicate nephron walls decreases, and immediately, and this is measurable, inflammatory markers start declining. Think about this. You've been flooding your system with sugar for years, maybe decades. Your body has adapted to constant high glucose. Your kidneys have adapted to constant high filtration demand. Your pancreas has adapted to producing massive amounts of insulin. Your cells have adapted to insulin resistance. Everything in your body has reorganized around this chronic sugar state. It's your metabolic baseline. It's normal for you. But it's not healthy normal. It's damaged normal. The moment you stop the sugar, your body recognizes that the emergency is over. It's like a fire alarm finally turning off after years of constantly blaring. Your kidneys sense that blood glucose is normalizing. They sense that insulin is dropping. They sense that the filtration demand has decreased. And they respond by shifting out of emergency mode. This is automatic. Your body doesn't need your permission. It doesn't need your conscious effort. The biology activates automatically. The healing mechanisms turn on. The repair systems activate. Your body has been waiting for the signal that the poison has stopped, so it can begin healing. But there's a problem in the first 72 hours, and this is where most people fail. Your brain has been trained to expect regular glucose spikes. Sugar is addictive, not metaphorically, literally. Sugar triggers dopamine release in your nucleus, accumbens the same way cocaine does. Your brain develops a genuine neurochemical dependency. When you cut sugar, dopamine levels drop. Your brain experiences withdrawal. It doesn't just crave sugar, it sends out distress signals. You get headaches, bone-deep fatigue, irritability that surprises you, mood swings that feel irrational, intense cravings that feel almost compulsive. Your brain is literally experiencing neurochemical withdrawal. The same part of your brain that gets activated by cocaine gets activated by sugar. And when you remove the sugar, you get cocaine-like withdrawal symptoms. This is the crucial part. Those first 72 hours are proof that your body is healing. They're uncomfortable proof. Your body is recalibrating. Your neurotransmitter systems are readjusting. Your insulin sensitivity is improving. Your kidneys are stopping their emergency response. But you feel terrible. So most people quit. They go back to sugar thinking they're doing something wrong. They're not. They're actually on the edge of breakthrough, and they stop. Here's what's happening hourly in that first 72-hour period. Hour 0 to 6. Blood glucose normalizes. Insulin levels start dropping. Your kidneys sense the reduced pressure. The emergency filtration mode begins to shut down. Hour 6 to 18. Insulin continues declining. Your cells start becoming more insulin sensitive. Stored glucose in your muscles and liver starts being utilized. You start to feel slightly depleted. Your energy drops. Hour 18 to 24. This is when the brain fog hits. Dopamine withdrawal begins. Your brain is looking for that glucose spike that should be coming. It's not coming. Headaches often start in hour 20 to 24. They can be severe, hour 24 to 36. The worst period, typically. Fatigue is severe. Cravings are intense. Your body is literally rebalancing neurotransmitter levels. Serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, all changing. You feel like you have the flu. Hour 36 to 48, slight improvement starting. Your brain is beginning to adapt to lower glucose availability. Your liver starts producing more ketones. These ketones start supplying your brain with alternative fuel. Energy might start improving slightly. Hour 48 to 72. By this point, if you've made it here, your brain is transitioning to ketone-based fuel. Dopamine is starting to rebalance naturally. The intense cravings begin to fade. Most people report a noticeable energy increase around hour 60 to 72. Clarity starts returning. Physical symptoms start improving. But the kidney changes are happening silently underneath all this discomfort. Within 24 hours, age formation slows significantly. The rate of new glycation products being created drops dramatically. Within 48 hours, inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein start measurably declining. Your body's inflammatory response, which was being triggered by elevated blood sugar, begins to calm down. Within 72 hours, your blood osmolarity normalizes. Your kidneys stop retaining excess water. The swelling that sugar created, that puffy feeling in your face, your fingers, your ankles, starts reducing. Not dramatically, but measurably. If you could look at your blood under a microscope, you'd see the viscosity changing. Your blood becomes less thick. It flows easier. Your kidneys have to work less hard to push it through. The stress on those damaged nephron walls decreases. By day 5, blood pressure starts dropping noticeably. Studies from the American Heart Association show that just 5 days of zero added sugar causes systolic blood pressure to drop 3 to 7 points on average. This is significant. This is measurable. Your kidney blood vessels are beginning to relax. The constant inflammatory signal is quieting down. The kidneys are receiving the message, the emergency is over. By day 7, if you measure insulin levels, they're typically 40 to 60% lower than baseline. This is huge. Lower insulin means your kidneys are no longer being forced to retain sodium and water. You're peeing more. You're sweating more. You're releasing the fluid that sugar caused your body to hold. That bloated feeling? Gone. That afternoon fatigue that felt unavoidable, improving noticeably. Your clothes fit differently. Your face looks less puffy. People might even comment that you look different. By day 14, something measurable happens in your urine. Microalbumin levels, that early indicator of kidney damage, start declining. Your kidneys are filtering more selectively again. Albumin that was leaking through the damaged barrier is now being retained. The filtration barrier is strengthening. By day 21, inflammatory markers have typically dropped 30 to 50% from baseline. Your C-reactive protein is lower. Your TNF-alpha is lower. Your interleukin-6 is lower. These are the molecules that were causing tissue damage. They're quieting down. Your kidneys are no longer under inflammatory assault. They're beginning to repair. And here's the remarkable part. You can actually feel these changes. Energy improves. Sleep improves. Mental clarity improves. Skin improves. These aren't imaginary benefits. These are measurable physiological changes that you can feel in your body. And here's the thing about kidney repair. Once you remove the damaging stimulus, the body's repair mechanisms activate automatically. This isn't willpower. This isn't positive thinking. Your body physically repairs itself when you stop poisoning it. It's automatic. Kidney tissue that wasn't irreversibly scarred starts healing. Nephrons that were inflamed start reducing their inflammation. The glomerular filtration barrier starts reinforcing itself. The damaged blood vessel walls in the glomerulus start producing new, healthier endothelial cells. Your kidneys start remembering what healthy function feels like. But let me explain what happens if you don't make this change. If you continue with high sugar intake, the damage accelerates. By year 2 of consistent high sugar consumption, many people have lost 15 to 25% of their kidney function. They still have no symptoms, but the damage is advancing. The scar tissue is accumulating. The nephrons are dying off. By year 5, maybe 30 to 40% kidney function loss. Still potentially asymptomatic, still showing normal blood work because the remaining function is technically adequate, but they're on a trajectory. They're moving toward kidney disease. By year 10, they might hit 50% function loss. Now, symptoms might appear. Fatigue that doesn't go away even with sleep. Brain fog that's persistent. Swelling in extremities. Difficulty concentrating at work. High blood pressure that medications barely control. They start noticing something's wrong, but it's subtle. It's easy to dismiss as getting older. It's easy to attribute to stress. This is when most people finally get diagnosed. Stage 3 chronic kidney disease. They've already lost half their kidney function. The nephrologist explains they need to manage it now. Reduce salt, monitor protein, take medications, control blood pressure. But the damage that's already happened, it's permanent. The scar tissue doesn't disappear. The dead nephrons don't come back. You can slow further decline. But you can't reverse what's already lost. The conversation becomes about managing decline, not about healing. If they continue declining, which many do because they don't actually change their diet, they just take medications. By year 15 or 20, they hit stage 4. Severe kidney disease, 15 to 29% function remaining. Now dialysis conversations start. This is where it gets real. The nephrologist explains what's coming. Dialysis, 3 days per week, 4 hours per session, hooked to a machine that does what your kidneys can no longer do. Your blood gets circulated outside your body, filtered through a synthetic membrane, cleaned of toxins, reinfused. It's mechanical. It's not the same as kidney function. Dialysis removes roughly 60 to 70% of the waste your kidneys would normally remove. Your remaining natural kidney function plus dialysis keeps you alive, barely. But you're now permanently dependent on a machine and a medical facility. Your entire life revolves around your dialysis schedule. You can't travel easily. Where are you going to get dialysis? Most places have specific clinics. You can't just show up to a random hospital. You need to be at a specific clinic at specific times. You need to coordinate your entire vacation around dialysis schedules. If you want to visit family out of state, you have to arrange dialysis appointments weeks in advance. Spontaneous travel becomes impossible. A weekend getaway? You have to find a dialysis center nearby and pre-arrange appointments. This eliminates the freedom that defines quality of life for many people. You can't work demanding jobs. You're exhausted after dialysis. Your energy crashes. The process of having your blood filtered outside your body is physically taxing. You spend the day recovering. You're constantly fatigued. Your body never fully recovers from dialysis. It's a chronic physical drain. Some dialysis patients can't work at all. Others can work part-time, but demanding careers are off the table. Your earning potential is reduced. Your career trajectory is ended. At a time when many people are advancing in their careers, you're figuring out how to survive on disability. You have dietary restrictions so severe that your meals are boring and limited. No potassium, no phosphorus, limited sodium, limited fluid intake. You can't drink when you're thirsty. You have to ration your water intake. You can't grab coffee with a friend without calculating whether it's within your fluid allowance. You can't go to a restaurant without anxiety about whether the food fits your diet restrictions. Eating, which should be a pleasure, becomes a source of stress. Social meals become complicated. You're the person asking about preparation methods. You're the person unable to just eat what everyone else is eating. You're the person causing complications at dinner. You're alive. But the quality of that life has been fundamentally altered. You're not dead, but you're not living how you want to live. You're existing. You're managing. You're surviving. But surviving isn't living, and the statistics are brutal. The 5-year survival rate for dialysis patients is roughly 35%. That means 65% of people who start dialysis are dead within 5 years. For context, the 5-year survival rate for colon cancer is about 64%. For breast cancer, roughly 90%. For pancreatic cancer, about 10%. Dialysis patients have worse survival odds than most cancer patients. And this is a disease that was completely preventable. It was caused by dietary choices. Year after year of high sugar consumption, and now you're being kept alive by machines. The final stage is stage 5, end-stage renal disease. Less than 15% kidney function. Now, dialysis is essential to stay alive. Some people pursue kidney transplants, but transplants come with their own complications. immunosuppression drugs that weaken your immune system, rejection risk, limited lifespan of the transplanted kidney, maybe 15 to 20 years before it fails. And not everyone is a candidate for transplant. You need a compatible donor. You need to be healthy enough to survive the surgery. Many dialysis patients are too ill for transplant. They're stuck on dialysis until they die, and the average dialysis patient lifespan is significantly reduced. Many don't make it 10 years on dialysis. Now let's reframe this completely, because there's hope, significant hope, real, scientifically grounded hope. When you quit sugar, especially before advanced kidney damage has occurred, your kidneys can recover substantially, not perfectly. Some scar tissue is permanent. Once the scarring has happened, those kidney cells are damaged. The nephrons that have died are gone. But functionally, significantly, the remaining healthy kidney tissue can recover, the inflammation can resolve, the filtration capacity can improve. Studies from the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology followed people with early kidney disease who reduced added sugar intake. After 6 months, 70% of them showed improved kidney function markers. After 1 year, 80% showed measurable improvement. The improvement continued for 2 years, then plateaued. But they didn't continue declining. They stabilized and improved. This is critical. In the standard progression of kidney disease, people continue declining gradually. Their kidney function gets worse every year. But when people quit the sugar that was causing the damage, the decline stops. And not only does it stop, measurable improvement happens. The kidneys actually recover some of their function. This is the key mechanism. If you quit before the damage becomes irreversible, your kidneys heal aggressively, faster than you'd expect. The body has built-in repair systems that activate the moment the damaging stimulus is removed. And here's what's remarkable. Once people experience this healing, once they feel the energy return, the mental clarity, the reduction in bloating and swelling, the normalization of blood pressure, they don't want to go back. The benefit is undeniable. They don't crave sugar the way they used to. Their taste buds recalibrate. Fruit tastes sweet again. Plain yogurt tastes sweet. Vegetables taste delicious instead of bland. Foods that used to taste boring now taste exciting. The neural rewiring is complete. They've escaped the sugar addiction cycle, and they realize they never want to go back to the way they felt before. That exhaustion, that brain fog, that constant bloating, they don't miss it. They don't crave it. They're genuinely happier in the new state. The first 30 days is the critical window. I'm not saying 30 days fixes everything. It doesn't. But 30 days is the threshold where your body's healing mechanisms activate fully, where you experience enough improvement to know you're on the right track, where the changes become measurable and undeniable, where your motivation shifts from, I should do this, to, I never want to go back to how I felt. By day 30, without added sugar, here's what's typically measurable. Blood pressure down 5 to 15 points. This is a significant clinical improvement. You'll notice it if you measure regularly. Inflammatory markers down 40 to 60%. Your C-reactive protein, your TNF-alpha, your interleukin-6, all the inflammatory molecules that were damaging your kidney tissue. They're significantly reduced. Insulin levels down 50 to 70%. Your pancreas is finally getting a break. Your cells are becoming sensitive to insulin again. Fasting glucose normalized. Your blood sugar in the morning, before you eat anything, is back to healthy levels. Energy levels increase noticeably. You'll feel this. You'll wake up and notice that morning fatigue is gone. You'll make it through the day without the afternoon energy crash that was inevitable before. Mental clarity improved. The brain fog lifts. You can concentrate again. You can focus on work without struggling. You can remember things without effort. Sleep improved. You'll sleep deeper. You'll wake up more rested. You won't need as much caffeine. You'll stop hitting the afternoon slump that required coffee to overcome. Skin improved. Your complexion clears. The inflammation that was affecting your skin reduces. You'll look in the mirror and see improvement. Kidney function markers showing early signs of improvement. You can measure this through blood tests. Your creatinine might decrease slightly. Your GFR might increase slightly. These are measurable improvements. Microalbumin in urine starting to decrease. Protein leakage is reducing. Your kidneys are strengthening. The healing has begun. Measurably, objectively, scientifically, and you can feel it. You're sleeping better. You're thinking clearer. You have more energy. Your clothes fit differently. Your face looks different. Your wedding ring might become looser because the swelling is gone. These are real, tangible changes that you can see and feel. And this isn't temporary. This is the beginning of long-term kidney protection. People who maintain low sugar intake maintain this improvement. Studies tracking people 5 years out, 10 years out, show they maintain their kidney function. They don't experience the progressive decline that high sugar consumers experience. They don't end up on dialysis. They don't lose the ability to live spontaneously. They keep their kidneys healthy. They keep their freedom. They keep their life. And the remarkable thing is, they keep feeling good. The energy stays. The mental clarity stays. The feeling of health stays. They report that after a few months of eating low sugar, they can't even imagine going back. The old way of eating that used to feel normal now feels terrible. They remember how bloated they used to be, how tired they used to feel, how foggy their thinking was, and they look at that old version of themselves with almost compassion, realizing they were slowly poisoning themselves without even knowing it. The people who succeed at this aren't superhuman. They're not genetically blessed. They're not uniquely disciplined. They're just people who made a decision to try something different. They experienced the benefits, and they chose to keep going. That's it. That's the whole story. No secret, no magic, just a decision to stop the poison and let the body heal itself. So here's the actual question, not the one about ordering a different coffee. The real question: what's 1 month of dietary change worth if it means you don't spend the last 10 to 20 years of your life hooked to a dialysis machine? What's 1 month of avoiding sugar worth if it means your kidneys stay functional? If it means you stay independent? If it means you get to travel when you want, eat what you want, live how you want? What's worth more? The temporary satisfaction of sugar? Or decades of freedom and health and independence? Because here's what I know about people who make this change. They don't regret it. Not one person who quit sugar for 30 days and experienced the improvement has said, "I wish I'd gone back." Not one. They've said, "Why did I wait so long? I feel like myself again. I didn't realize how bad I felt until I felt good. I have my energy back. I can think clearly again. I don't feel bloated anymore." Once they experience the difference, they understand. It wasn't about willpower. It wasn't about deprivation. It was about stopping the poison and letting their body heal. The choice is actually yours, right now, today. You can continue the path you're on. The path where your kidneys are slowly being damaged, where inflammation is silently accumulating, where nephrons are dying, where your kidney function is declining without any warning, and you're moving toward a future that might include dialysis, transplant complications, mobility restrictions, dietary limitations, and significantly reduced lifespan and quality of life. You're on that path right now with every sugary drink you consume. Or you can make a different choice. You can quit added sugar for 30 days. Just 30 days. You can experience the first 72 hours of withdrawal discomfort, knowing it's proof your body is healing. You can feel your energy return. You can feel your mental clarity improve. You can feel the swelling reduce. You can feel your kidneys stop screaming under the burden of sugar processing. You can measure your blood pressure dropping. You can measure your inflammatory markers. You're declining. You can feel what health actually feels like when you remove the thing that was poisoning you. This isn't about deprivation. This isn't about suffering. This is about removing the poison and experiencing what your body is actually capable of. This is about discovering that you can feel better than you thought possible. This is about understanding that the bloating, the fatigue, the brain fog, the afternoon energy crashes, these weren't inevitable signs of aging. They were symptoms of sugar poisoning, and they can be reversed. And then you can decide, do you want to go back, or do you want to keep going? Do you want to protect your kidneys, or do you want to gamble that dialysis won't happen to you? Because statistically, if you keep eating high sugar, your kidneys are declining. Right now, at this moment, while you listen to this, every piece of added sugar is adding another AGE molecule to your kidney tissue. Every spike in blood glucose is forcing another cycle of damaging hyperfiltration. Every day of high insulin is causing another day of sodium and water retention and blood pressure elevation. The damage is happening silently, without warning, without pain. And it's cumulative. It's permanent. Once the damage reaches a certain point, you can't undo it. Here's the final thing I want you to understand. The decisions you make today, in the coffee shop line, in the grocery store, at the vending machine, they're literally determining your future. They're determining whether you'll be healthy and free at 70, or whether you'll be hooked to a machine 3 days a week. They're determining whether you'll have energy and mental clarity, or whether you'll be exhausted and foggy. They're determining whether you'll be able to travel and live spontaneously, or whether you'll be locked into a dialysis schedule. Your future isn't being determined by genetics. Your future isn't being determined by bad luck. Your future is being determined by the choices you make right now, today, in this moment. The medical system will tell you that kidney disease is manageable with medications and dialysis, and technically, they're right. You can survive on dialysis. You can take medications that slow the decline. But survival isn't the same as living. And you deserve to live. You deserve to have energy. You deserve to have freedom. You deserve to be able to make spontaneous decisions without checking a dialysis schedule. You deserve that. And you have the power to create that future right now. And the beautiful part is, you can change your future. You can change it starting today, not tomorrow, today. You don't have to wait for New Year's. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You don't have to wait until something bad happens to motivate you. You can make the decision right now to quit added sugar for 30 days and see what happens. You can experience the proof your body wants to heal. You can experience the proof that you're not broken. You can experience the proof that you can feel good again. Your body is literally waiting for you to stop poisoning it so it can show you what health feels like. Because here's what happens after 30 days of healing. You feel so much better that you don't want to go back. You're not white-knuckling through the sacrifice. You're not suffering through deprivation. You're actually enjoying how you feel. You're actually preferring this state to the state you were in before. That's when the real change happens. That's when this becomes permanent. Not because you're forcing yourself, but because you prefer the alternative. You prefer feeling good to feeling bad. You prefer health to sickness. You prefer freedom to dependence. It's not about willpower anymore. It's about preferring how you feel. The choice is yours. And it starts with one decision, one 30-day commitment, one choice to see what happens when you stop consuming added sugar. Your kidneys are waiting to show you what they can do. Your body is waiting to show you what healing feels like. Your future self, the version of you at 70, who either has energy and freedom or is hooked to a dialysis machine, that future version is waiting for you to make the right decision today. So what's it going to be?